That voice. You hear it, don't you? It's not loud. It's a whisper, a low hum beneath the noise of your daily obligations, beneath the chatter of the world telling you who you should be. It comes to you in the quiet moments. In the dead of night when you're staring at the ceiling. In the split second after the alarm clock shatters the silence but before the mask of the day is put on. It's the feeling in your gut when you see someone else living a life of passion and purpose. It's the ache in your soul when you close another mediocre day, another 24 hours traded for a paycheck and a fleeting sense of security. The voice whispers the same 7 words, over and over, a sacred and terrifying mantra: I was created for more than this. You try to silence it. You try to drown it in distraction, bury it under a mountain of tasks, numb it with entertainment. You tell yourself it's just discontent. It's envy. It's the foolish daydreaming of a child who never grew up. You rationalize, you justify, you build a fortress of logic around your ordinary life to protect it from the cannonball of this one, single, devastating truth. But it never goes away. Because it is not a thought. It is an echo. It is the echo of your own potential. It is your soul remembering the blueprint it was given before you were taught to build small. Before the world convinced you that a cottage was a castle. Before you learned to trade the infinite horizon of your destiny for the picket fence of a predictable life. This feeling is not your enemy. It is your guide. It is the most honest thing you have left. It is the compass needle of your spirit, trembling and pointing north, pointing toward the more you were designed to be, while you are stubbornly, fearfully, walking south. This is the slow, comfortable suffocation of the average. This is the dreamless sleep of a life lived at half-mast. This is the silent agreement you made to trade your birthright of greatness for a bowl of lukewarm certainty. You weren't born for this. You weren't forged in the fires of cosmic chance, gifted with a unique combination of thoughts, talents, and desires that has never existed before and will never exist again, just to pay bills and wait for the weekend. You are not a biological machine designed for mere survival. You are a vessel of creation, a conduit for a purpose that is uniquely yours. To deny that purpose is the greatest sacrilege you can commit. It is a betrayal of your own creation. The pain you feel is not the pain of failure. It is the pain of betrayal. Every day you settle, every day you play small, every day you silence that voice, you are betraying the blueprint within. You are looking at the architectural plans for a cathedral and choosing to build a shed instead because it's easier, because it's faster, because no one will criticize a shed. No one expects anything from a shed. But you were not created to be a shed. You were created to be a testament, a towering structure of what is possible when a human being decides to align their life with their deepest truth. That whisper is your call to adventure. It is the invitation to begin the great work of your life, the work of dismantling the this you have settled for, and starting the terrifying, exhilarating process of building the more you were created for. Stop treating that voice like a symptom of a problem. It is the first sign of the cure. It is the beginning of the awakening. The part of you that knows you are a lion has begun to stir in a world that has taught you to be a sheep. The roar is still a whisper, but it is growing. And soon, it will be too loud to ignore. Listen to it. Honor it. For it is the truest voice you will ever hear. It is the voice of your own becoming. What, exactly, is this that you were not created for? Let's give it a name. Let's drag it out into the light and look at it. It is the kingdom of good enough. It is the land of the lukewarm. It is the gray, featureless landscape of mediocrity. It's a life where the highs are not too high, and the lows are not too low. It's a carefully managed, risk-averse existence where the primary goal is not to thrive, but to simply avoid failing. It's the job you don't love but don't hate enough to leave. It's the relationship that doesn't inspire you but is comfortable enough to stay in. It's the body that isn't healthy but isn't sick enough to demand a change. It is the slow, anesthetic drip of the ordinary, numbing you so completely that you forget you were ever supposed to feel anything more. You have become a master of justification. You tell yourself, it's not so bad. I have it better than most. You compare yourself to those who have less to make your own lack feel like abundance. You've convinced yourself that the absence of acute pain is the presence of happiness. It is a grand deception. You are not happy. You are simply not in agony. And you have mistaken the ceasefire for peace. This life, this average existence, is a conspiracy you've entered into with your own fear. Fear promised you safety, and you promised fear your dreams. It seemed like a fair trade at the time. The world is a scary place, after all. Ambition is risky. Passion can lead to heartbreak. Better to keep your head down, your hopes low, and your heart guarded. Better to be a spectator in the arena of life than to risk being bloodied on the sand. So you took the deal. You handed over your potential, and in return, you received a life sentence in the prison of the predictable. The bars of this prison are forged from the opinions of others. You've spent your life calibrating your desires to what is deemed acceptable and realistic by the crowd. You've let the fear of being judged, of being seen as arrogant or foolish, shrink your ambitions down to a manageable, inoffensive size. You've become a character in someone else's play, reading lines you didn't write, all for the fleeting applause of an audience that doesn't even care. The walls are wallpapered with your own excuses. I don't have the time. I don't have the money. I'm not smart enough. It's too late for me. Each excuse is another brick, another layer of fortification to keep you safely inside, to protect you from the terrifying possibility that you are, in fact, powerful enough to change it all. Because if you are powerful, then you are responsible. If you have the ability, then your current state is not a tragedy, it is a choice. And that is a truth too heavy for most to bear. So they choose the comfort of the excuse. This is a state of spiritual sleep. You are sleepwalking through your days, performing a series of automated tasks, your mind either lost in the regrets of the past or the anxieties of the future. You are rarely ever here, in the only moment that exists, the only moment where change is possible, the now. You believe you are awake, but you are dreaming a life, not living it. The whisper, "I was created for more than this," is your soul's attempt to shake you awake. It is the alarm clock you keep hitting snooze on. It is the part of you that has not yet succumbed to the anesthesia. It is the wild, untamed core of your being that knows this safe, predictable, mediocre performance is a lie. You were not created to be a cog in a machine. You were not created to be a passive consumer of experiences. You were not created to live a life that could be summed up in a single, boring paragraph. You were created to be a force of nature. You were created to feel everything, to risk everything, to love with a ferocious intensity, to fail spectacularly and rise from the ashes, to build something that lasts, to leave a legacy that echoes in eternity. You were created to be the author of an epic, and you have settled for being the reader of a pamphlet. It is time to wake up. It's time to feel the discomfort of true consciousness. It's time to admit to yourself that this life you've so carefully constructed is a cage, and the door has been unlocked the entire time. Inside you, etched into the very fabric of your soul, is a blueprint. It was placed there at the moment of your creation. This is not a metaphor, it is the fundamental truth of your existence. This blueprint is the design for the highest, most magnificent version of yourself. It contains the plans for your unique form of greatness, the specifications of your purpose, the layout of your potential. It is the architectural drawing of the masterpiece you were meant to be. Now look at the life you have built. Look at the structure you inhabit day in and day out. Is it the cathedral detailed in that blueprint? Is it the soaring monument to the human spirit that you were designed to construct? Or is it a hastily assembled shack, built with the cheap materials of compromise and fear? A structure built not to inspire, but merely to provide shelter from the storm of your own potential. You have been living in a self-made slum, all the while holding the master plans to a palace. You have ignored the blueprint. Perhaps you never learned to read it. Perhaps the world told you it was just a fantasy, a childish drawing with no basis in reality. They gave you a different set of plans, a standardized, mass-produced design for a life of conformity. It was easier to build. All the materials were provided. The instructions were simple: go to school, get a job, buy a house, follow the rules, don't stand out. So you built their building, not yours. And now you stand within its cramped, windowless rooms, and you feel the suffocating emptiness, and you hear that whisper, "I was created for more than this." That whisper is the sound of the original blueprint calling to you from the dusty archives of your soul. It is the rustle of the forgotten plans, begging to be unrolled. Your great work in this life is to find that blueprint, to dust it off, and to learn to read its language. Its language is not written in words, but in feelings. It speaks through passion. It speaks through curiosity. It speaks through the deep, resonant joy you feel when you are engaged in an activity that makes you lose track of time. It speaks through the righteous anger you feel at the injustices you were born to correct. These feelings are not random. They are the coordinates of your purpose. They are the compass pointing you toward the site where you are meant to build. To find the blueprint, you must excavate your own life. You must dig through the layers of conditioning, the sediment of other people's expectations, the fossilized remains of your own limiting beliefs. You must ask yourself questions you have been avoiding for years. What did you love to do as a child, before you were told what you should love? What makes you feel truly alive, not just entertained? If fear and money were no object, what would you dedicate your life to? The answers to these questions are the keys to deciphering the blueprint. They will reveal the core materials you were meant to work with, the unique style of architecture that only you can create. Once you begin to understand the plans, the next step is demolition. You cannot build a palace on the site of a shack. The old structure must come down. This means dismantling the habits, the relationships, and the beliefs that make up your current, average life. It is a process of subtraction, not addition. You must clear the land before you can lay a new foundation. This is the hardest part. The shack is familiar. It may be miserable, but it's a misery you know. Demolishing it means stepping out into the open, exposed to the elements, with nothing but a set of plans and a pile of rubble at your feet. This is where faith is required. Not faith in a deity, but faith in your own blueprint. Faith that the design is sound. Faith that you have the capacity to build it. The world is filled with people who have caught a glimpse of their blueprint, felt the momentary thrill of their own potential, and then retreated back into the shack because the work of demolition and construction was too daunting. Do not be one of them. The discomfort of the construction process is temporary. The regret of living in the wrong house is eternal. Honor the architect that created you. Honor the design you were given. You have the plans. You have the potential. The only question is, will you pick up the tools and begin the work? The most dangerous phrase in any language is good enough. It is the lullaby of the unambitious. It is the rationalization of the coward. It is the epitaph on the tombstone of unfulfilled potential. Good enough is the sworn enemy of more. It is the mortal foe of the masterpiece you were meant to be. Today, you must declare war. A total, unconditional, take no prisoners war on the tyranny of good enough in your life. This is not a battle you can afford to fight defensively. You must be the aggressor. You must hunt down every pocket of mediocrity, every stronghold of settling, every instance of compromise in your life, and you must eradicate it with extreme prejudice. Your battle cry must be no more. No more half-hearted efforts. No more phoning it in. No more giving just enough to get by. From this day forward, you operate on a new standard, the standard of your absolute best. Anything less is a betrayal. Anything less is unacceptable. This war begins on the terrain of your daily habits. Look at your morning. Do you wake up, or are you dragged from sleep by the screaming of an alarm clock, only to stumble through a fog of reluctance into your day? That is good enough. The warrior rises before the sun, not because they have to, but because they choose to. They choose to conquer the first battle of the day, the battle against the warmth of the bed, the battle against their own weakness. They start the day with a victory, setting the tone for all the victories that will follow. Look at your work. Are you producing your magnum opus, or are you just meeting the deadline? Are you pushing the boundaries of your craft, or are you just doing what is required? The world is overflowing with people who do what is required. They are the forgotten masses, the cogs in the machine. The ones who are remembered, the ones who create the more, are the ones who are pathologically incapable of settling for what is required. They are obsessed with excellence. They are driven by a divine discontent that never allows them to rest on their laurels. They are in a perpetual state of becoming, always reaching for a standard that is just beyond their grasp. This is the mindset you must adopt. You must become allergic to mediocrity. It should repel you on a physical level. The very thought of submitting work that is merely good enough should make you sick to your stomach. Look at your relationships. Are you giving the people you claim to love your full, present, and authentic self, or are you giving them the tired, distracted leftovers of your energy? That is good enough. To love with greatness is to love with intention, with courage, with a willingness to be vulnerable. It is to fight for connection, to refuse to let the slow rot of complacency decay the bonds that matter most. Look at your health. Are you fueling your body for peak performance, or are you just avoiding immediate illness? Are you building a vessel capable of carrying you to your dreams, or are you letting it slowly crumble from neglect? Surviving is good enough. Thriving is the goal. This war will not be easy. The forces of good enough are deeply entrenched. They are supported by a culture that celebrates the average and is suspicious of the exceptional. Your own mind will be the biggest traitor, constantly whispering temptations of ease and comfort. It will tell you you're being too hard on yourself. It will tell you to take a break. It will tell you that what you've done is good enough. You must learn to recognize this voice as the enemy. It is the siren song of mediocrity, luring you onto the rocks of a wasted life. You must bind yourself to the mast of your discipline and sail past it, your eyes fixed on the horizon of your highest potential. I am asking you to become an extremist. An extremist in the pursuit of excellence. An extremist in the rejection of the average. The world needs more extremists of the right kind. People who are extremely disciplined, extremely honest, extremely compassionate, extremely committed. The moderate path, the middle road, leads to the bland plains of good enough. The path to more is found at the extremes. Choose your extreme. Choose excellence. Declare war. And do not rest until every corner of your life is a reflection of the undeniable truth that you were created for more than good enough. You have felt the call. You have identified the cage of the average. You have unrolled the blueprint of your potential and declared war on good enough. Now comes the reckoning. Now comes the part that no one wants to talk about. The more that you seek comes with a price. It is not on sale. There is no discount. It demands payment in full, in advance, with no guarantee of a return on your investment. The currency it accepts is sacrifice. Are you willing to pay? The first payment is your comfort. We have spoken of this. You must trade the warm, soft bed of predictability for the cold, hard ground of the unknown. You must sacrifice the ease of your routines for the friction of your growth. Your desire for more must be greater than your addiction to comfort. There is no other way. The second payment is your time. Your dream will demand your hours, your minutes, your seconds. It will require the time you currently spend on distraction, on entertainment, on mindless consumption. You say you don't have time, but you have 24 hours in a day, the same 24 hours as every titan of industry, every groundbreaking artist, every world-class athlete. You have the time. What you lack is the ruthless commitment to allocate it correctly. You must conduct an audit of your time and be brutally honest. Where is it going? Is it being invested in the construction of your more, or is it being squandered on the maintenance of your this? You must be willing to sacrifice your leisure on the altar of your legacy. The third payment, and perhaps the most painful, is your relationships. Not all of them, but some of them. The people who are tethered to the old you, the you who was content with the average, will not be able to make the journey with you. As you begin to climb, your ascent will feel like a betrayal to those who are committed to staying at the base of the mountain. They will try to pull you back. They will use guilt, they will use nostalgia, they will use fear. You must be willing to sacrifice your place in the tribe for the sake of your calling. You must have the courage to love them from a distance, to wish them well, and to keep climbing. The loneliness you will feel is part of the price. The fourth payment is your ego. The journey to more is a journey of relentless humility. You will have to be willing to be a beginner again. You will have to be willing to look stupid, to ask for help, to admit that you don't know. Your ego, your need to look good and be right, must be sacrificed. You must fall in love with the process of learning, which is inherently a process of being wrong. You will fail. You will fail publicly. You will fail spectacularly. Your ego will scream in agony. You must be willing to let it die. The person who is afraid of failure will never achieve greatness. Greatness is built on a mountain of failures, each one a lesson, each one a stepping stone. Finally, you must be willing to sacrifice the old you. We have spoken of this death. This is the ultimate price. You must give up the identity, the stories, the limiting beliefs that have defined you for your entire life. You must sacrifice who you are for who you can become. This is the great paradox. To gain everything, you must be willing to lose everything. Most people are not willing to pay this price. They want the reward without the risk. They want the crown without the cross. They want the palace without the demolition. And so they remain in their shacks, staring out at the world, filled with a quiet, simmering resentment for those who were willing to pay. The price is not a punishment. The price is the process. The sacrifice is the journey. The very act of paying the price is what transforms you into the person who is worthy of the more you seek. You don't pay the price to get the thing. The paying of the price is the thing. It is the work. It is the growth. It is the becoming. So look at the price tag. Look at it honestly, without flinching. Comfort. Time. Relationships. Ego. Your old self. It will cost you everything. And it will give you the one thing you truly want, the fulfillment of knowing you honored the blueprint. The peace of knowing you did not die with your music still inside you. The sublime joy of becoming the person you were created to be. Is it worth it? Only you can answer that. But make the choice consciously. Know the price, and then decide if you are willing to pay. You were created for more. The very word created implies an act, a design, a purpose. You are not a random collection of atoms, you are a deliberate work of art. But the artist is not finished. The initial creation was just the beginning. The clay has been shaped, the marble has been quarried, but the final, detailed work of bringing the masterpiece to life, that work falls to you. You are a co-creator in the project of your own becoming. The universe has done its part. It has gifted you the raw material of your potential, the blueprint of your purpose. Now, it is your turn to pick up the tools. Your life is not a static object to be observed, it is a dynamic process to be engaged in. You must shift from being the creature of your circumstances to the creator of your reality. This is the great leap from a passive to an active existence. The passive person waits. They wait for inspiration. They wait for permission. They wait for the right moment. They wait for someone to discover them, to save them, to give them their big break. The creator understands that waiting is a form of slow suicide. The creator does not wait for the muse, they build a workshop and show up every day, and through the act of working, the muse is summoned. The creator does not wait for permission, they give it to themselves. The creator knows that the only right moment is now. Stop waiting to feel like it. Stop waiting for the fear to go away. Stop waiting for the perfect conditions. The conditions will never be perfect. The fear will always be there. The work of creation is not about eliminating fear, it's about acting in the presence of fear. It is about your commitment to the blueprint being stronger than your fear of the blank page. The work is daily. It is not done in grand, heroic bursts of effort. The masterpiece is not built in a day. It is built in a million small, consistent, disciplined, and often boring acts of creation. It is the one more sentence you write when you are tired. It is the one more sales call you make when you have been rejected 10 times. It is the one more rep you push out when your muscles are screaming. It is the daily, unglamorous, relentless act of laying one brick perfectly, and then another, and then another. This is the work. And you must fall in love with the work itself, not just the idea of the finished product. The world is addicted to the highlight reel, but it despises the practice tape. Everyone wants the trophy, but no one wants the training. You must be different. You must be the one who finds a sacred joy in the process, in the struggle, in the repetition. The work will test you. It will expose every weakness, every insecurity, every limiting belief you have. It will hold a mirror up to you and force you to confront the parts of yourself you have been avoiding. This is part of the design. The work is not just about building something external, it is about rebuilding yourself internally. Every obstacle you overcome in your work is an obstacle you have overcome in yourself. Every challenge you meet in your project is a challenge you have met in your own character. You are not just building a business or creating a work of art or shaping your body. You are building yourself. You are the project. The external creation is just a reflection of your internal transformation. Stop consuming and start creating. Your life is a zero-sum game of creation versus consumption. Every hour you spend passively consuming the creations of others, the TV shows, the social media feeds, the endless stream of news, is an hour you are not spending on your own creation. You are either a producer or a consumer. The choice is yours. The more you were created for is on the producer's side of the equation. It requires you to close the tabs, turn off the notifications, and face the terrifying, beautiful silence of the blank canvas. It demands you bring something into the world that was not there before, something that is uniquely yours. This is your responsibility. This is your purpose. The blueprint in your soul is not a suggestion, it is a mandate. You were created for more, which means you were created to create. Now, pick up your tools. The sun is rising. The work begins. As you begin the great work, as you start to clear the land and lay the foundation for the masterpiece you were meant to build, you will awaken an enemy that has been dormant for years. This enemy is more cunning, more insidious, and more powerful than any external obstacle you will ever face. This enemy is your own inner saboteur. It is the voice of doubt, the whisper of inadequacy, the cynical narrator in your mind that is deeply invested in maintaining the status quo. The saboteur is the guardian of your comfort zone. Its primary mission is to protect you from the perceived dangers of growth, risk, and failure. It sees your ambition as a threat. It sees your potential as a liability. And it will use your own thoughts, your own emotions, and your own memories as weapons against you. It will remind you of every past failure, replaying your mistakes on a continuous loop to convince you that you are destined to fail again. It will magnify every obstacle, turning small hurdles into insurmountable mountains. It will whisper that you are an imposter, that you are not smart enough, not talented enough, not worthy enough to even attempt such a grand construction. It will tell you that people are laughing at you, that your ambition is arrogance, that your dream is a delusion. And because this voice speaks to you in your own tone, with your own private knowledge of your deepest fears, you will believe it. You cannot fight this enemy with logic. You cannot argue with it. To engage the saboteur in a debate is to lose, because it is using the biased, irrational language of fear. The only way to defeat the saboteur is to ignore it. You must learn to treat it as background noise, as the meaningless chatter of a frightened child. You must acknowledge its presence, there you are again, fear, and then you must calmly, deliberately, return your focus to the work. Your action is the antidote to its poison. The saboteur thrives in the stillness of your inaction. When you are thinking, planning, and worrying, it has complete control. But when you are moving, when you are building, when you are laying the next brick, its voice begins to fade into the background, drowned out by the sound of your own effort. You must build a new voice. An inner coach. A voice of empowerment that you consciously and deliberately cultivate. This voice is not born of delusion, it is born of evidence. You build this voice by keeping the promises you make to yourself. Every time you say you are going to wake up early and you do it, you give the coach a piece of evidence. Every time you say you are going to finish the task and you do it, you give the coach another piece of evidence. Every time you face your fear and act anyway, you build the case for your own capability. The coach's voice starts as a whisper, but as you accumulate evidence, as you stack these small wins, its voice will grow stronger and more confident. It will become the dominant voice in your mind, not because you wished it, but because you earned it. You must also starve the saboteur. It feeds on negativity, comparison, and doubt. You must ruthlessly curate your information diet. Unfollow the accounts that make you feel inadequate. Distance yourself from the people who are constantly complaining and criticizing. Stop consuming the news that fills you with fear and helplessness. You are what you eat, and this applies to your mind as much as your body. Feed your mind with stories of triumph, with the wisdom of those who have built their own cathedrals, with the inspiration of those who have faced their own saboteurs and won. The battle between the saboteur and the coach is the great inner war of your life. It is the struggle between the person you have been and the person you were created to be. The blueprint for more cannot be realized as long as the saboteur is in control of the construction site. It will second-guess every measurement, question every design choice, and try to convince you to abandon the project altogether. You must seize control. You must become the master of your internal state. This is the ultimate discipline. It is the work that precedes all other work. Before you can build the masterpiece, you must first become the master builder of your own mind. Acknowledge the saboteur, but do not give it authority. Listen to its fears, but do not obey its commands. Starve it of its fuel. Feed the coach with evidence of your strength. And keep your hands on the work. When you start to live by the blueprint, when you declare war on the average and begin the hard work of creation, prepare yourself for a profound and unsettling isolation. The path of the visionary is, by its very nature, a lonely one. You are walking toward a future that only you can see. To everyone else, you will look like you are walking into a fog. They will not understand your sacrifices. They will not comprehend your obsession. They will see your discipline as deprivation, your focus as fanaticism. Your transformation will be a mystery to them, and people are often afraid of what they cannot understand. The tribe you once belonged to, the one built on shared complaints and common comforts, will begin to view you as a foreigner. You no longer speak their language. The language of excuses, of limitations, of good enough, it now sounds alien to you. Your new dialect of possibility, of responsibility, of relentless growth, will sound like arrogance to their ears. You are a mirror reflecting a potential they have chosen not to embrace, and for some, that reflection will be unbearable. They will try to break the mirror. They will criticize you. They will mock your ambition. They will try to convince you that your blueprint is a fantasy. This is not because they are bad people. It is because your growth threatens the stability of their world, which is built on a foundation of collective compromise. You must develop a profound indifference to both their criticism and their praise. Your validation must come from within. It must come from the quiet satisfaction of knowing you are aligned with your purpose, that you are honoring your blueprint. You are no longer building for an audience, you are building for your own soul. The approval you need is your own. This isolation is a test. It is the universe's way of asking you, how badly do you want this? Do you want it enough to stand alone? Do you believe in your vision enough to be the only one who can see it? Your ability to withstand this period of solitude will determine the altitude you are ultimately able to reach. You must use this isolation as a creative crucible. In the silence left by the departure of the crowd, you will find an unprecedented level of clarity and focus. There are no more distractions. There are no more social obligations pulling you away from the great work. There is only you, the blueprint, and the tools. This is the monastery of your making. It is where the apprentice becomes the master. Embrace it. Do not lament the loss of old connections, celebrate the space that has been created for new ones to eventually form. Because this isolation is not a permanent state. It is a necessary passage. As you continue to build, as your cathedral begins to take shape and rise above the fog, it will become a beacon. It will attract other builders. It will draw to you a new tribe, a tribe not of comfort, but of creation. a tribe of fellow visionaries who have also endured their own lonely climb. These are the connections that will nourish your soul, for they are forged not in the weakness of shared complaint, but in the strength of shared aspiration. But to find this tribe, you must first have the courage to leave the old one. You must be willing to be misunderstood. You must be willing to be the sole believer in your own dream. The memory of belonging to the crowd is a powerful sedative. The choice to walk alone in pursuit of your more is the ultimate act of faith in your own creation. You were not created to be a follower. You were not designed to blend in. The blueprint you carry is unique in all of creation. To build it requires you to step away from the standardized structures of the world and clear your own land on your own terms. Do not fear the solitude. It is the fertile ground where the seeds of your greatness will finally be allowed to grow. As you persist in the work, as you endure the solitude and master your inner world, something fundamental begins to shift. It is not just your habits or your circumstances that change, it is your very perception of reality. You are no longer a passenger in the vehicle of your life, you have taken the wheel. You have stopped being a thermometer, merely reflecting the temperature of your environment, and you have become the thermostat, setting the temperature yourself. This is the transition from a reactive to a creative orientation to life. The reactive person is a creature of their environment. Their mood is dictated by the weather, their self-worth by the opinions of others, their actions by the pressures of circumstance. They are a leaf in the wind, tossed about by forces they feel they cannot control. They see the world as a series of events that happen to them. Life is a threat, a problem to be managed, a storm to be weathered. But the creator, the person who is building their life according to their own blueprint, sees the world differently. They understand that while they cannot control the external events, they have absolute sovereignty over their response to those events. They see the world not as something that happens to them, but as a canvas that responds to them. They understand that their internal state, their thoughts, their beliefs, their focus, is the brush that paints the reality they experience. They are no longer defined by their world, they are defining it. This is the essence of true power. It is not the power to dominate others or to manipulate circumstances. It is the power to be the author of your own experience. It is the profound freedom of knowing that your happiness, your peace, your fulfillment are not dependent on anything or anyone outside of yourself. They are products of your own creation, forged in the inner world of your consciousness. When you live from this place, the world transforms. Obstacles are no longer seen as barriers, they are seen as raw materials. A rejection is not a verdict on your worth, it is feedback to refine your approach. A failure is not an end, it is a lesson in the art of construction. You begin to see everything as serving your growth, as contributing to the building of your masterpiece. You are no longer at war with reality, you have become its creative partner. You start to set your own rules. You stop living by the unwritten, unspoken code of the crowd, the code that says you must trade your time for money, that you must sacrifice your passion for security, that you must dim your light so as not to make others uncomfortable. You begin to live by the code of your own blueprint. Your values become your law. Your purpose becomes your government. You are no longer a citizen of the kingdom of good enough, you are the sovereign of your own empire of more. This doesn't mean you become arrogant or selfish. On the contrary, the greatest act of service you can perform for the world is to fully realize your own blueprint. By building your cathedral, you give everyone else a glimpse of what is possible. By living in your own power, you unconsciously give others permission to step into theirs. Your light does not diminish theirs, it illuminates the path for them to find their own. The more you were created for was never just about you. It was about the impact your fully realized self could have on the world. You were created to be a solution to a problem, a source of inspiration, a force for good. But you cannot give what you do not have. You cannot light the way for others if your own lamp is unlit. By engaging in the sacred work of self-creation, you become the gift you were always meant to be. This is the ultimate redefinition. You are not a human being having a spiritual experience, you are a spiritual being having a human experience. And the purpose of this human experience is to translate the spiritual blueprint of your soul into a physical reality. It is to make your inner vision a tangible, living, breathing part of the world. So, look at your world. Is it a reflection of your excuses or a reflection of your choices? Is it a product of circumstance or a product of your creation? You are not just in this world. You are a world maker. The journey does not end. There is no final moment of arrival where you plant your flag and declare the work is finished. The more you were created for is not a destination, it is a direction. It is not something you achieve, it is something you become. The goal was never to finish the cathedral, the goal was to become the master builder. And a master builder never stops building, never stops creating, never stops refining their craft. To live the more is to exist in a state of perpetual growth, of divine discontent. It is to find a deep and abiding peace in the heart of the struggle. It is to understand that the process is the prize. You are no longer driven by the desperate need to escape to this, you are pulled forward by the joyous love of the more. Your motivation has shifted from fear to passion, from lack to abundance. You are not running from the shack, you are building toward the heavens. This is freedom. Freedom is not the absence of effort, it is the alignment of your effort with your purpose. It is the feeling of your entire being, every cell, every thought, every action, working in harmonious concert toward the realization of your blueprint. There is no greater joy. There is no deeper peace. You must understand that this is your life's work. It will require all of you, for all of your days. There will be seasons of rapid construction and seasons of quiet maintenance. There will be times when you must tear down a section that was built with a younger, less wise version of yourself at the helm. There will be storms that test the integrity of your foundation. The work is never done. And that is the beauty of it. It means your potential for growth is infinite. Your capacity to create is endless. Your ability to become is without limit. You will look back one day, not with the regret of a life unlived, but with the quiet pride of a creator surveying their work. You will see the rubble of the old shack you demolished. You will see the scars on your hands from the years of labor. You will see the towering structure you have built, a structure that is uniquely, undeniably yours. And you will know that you did it. You heard the whisper. You faced the fear. You paid the price. You honored the blueprint. You will have become the living embodiment of the truth that has guided you from the beginning. You are not just the creation, you are the creator. Your life is your message to the world. Make it a masterpiece. Do not go to your grave with your music still inside you. Do not leave this world with your blueprint still rolled up in the dusty corner of your soul. Build it. Build it with passion. Build it with courage. Build it with every fiber of your being. For you were not created to be a faint echo in the symphony of existence. You were created to be a powerful, resonant, unforgettable note. You were created for more than this. Now go. Live it. Be it.